Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into an ancient text to solve a really interesting linguistic puzzle, one that has some pretty profound implications. We're going to see how a single word, one that seems totally extra, actually reveals a kind of hidden fortress. A different kind of strength that has huge lessons for us even today.
Okay, let's just jump right in. The source text points out this fascinating little detail when the Torah is describing the conquest of the kings Sihon and Og. It says the Israelites took all their cities, but then it adds this phrase, that there was no Kyria that was too strong for them. Now, anyone who studies the Torah knows it's an incredibly precise text. It never just throws in extra words for effect. So if it says city and then says Kyria, it's telling us these are two different things. So what's the deal?
So what is the difference? The first guess, the obvious one that the source brings up, is that a Kyria is just a fortified city. It's got walls. A regular city is open. A Kyria has defenses. Simple, right? Well, not so fast. The text points out that somewhere else the Torah makes a very clear distinction between walled cities and unwalled, open ones. So that can't be it. This difference between a city and a Kyria, it's got to be about something else entirely.
All right, what about guess number 2? Maybe a Kyria is just a bigger city, a metropolis, more bustling. The source text thinks about this too, but nope, dismisses it. And here's why. The passage already tells us that the cities were full of men, women, and children. These were not some ghost towns. They were clearly populated places. So that little word, Kyria, it has to mean something deeper, some quality that goes beyond just counting heads.
Now, to solve this mystery, the source text takes this brilliant turn. It pivots to something that seems totally unrelated, the law of the city of refuge. This was a designated safe haven, a place where someone who accidentally killed a person could go to be safe from any avenging relatives. And believe it or not, this is where we find our big clue.
Okay, get this. This is where it gets really interesting. For one of these cities of refuge to actually work, if its population dropped, you had to bring in new people. But, and this is the key, not just anybody. The source tells us you had to bring in this specific mix: priests, Levites, and regular Israelites. So you have to ask, why that mix? Why is that exact formula so important for creating a sanctuary? The answer to that question, well, it's the key to this whole thing.
And this is where we get the big breakthrough. See, the secret isn't just about having enough people to fill up the space. It's about the kind of thing they become when they're together.
The source text reveals that what makes a Kyria has nothing to do with its walls or its gates or even how many people live there. All of that is just external stuff. The secret? It's something internal. It's something you can't see from the outside.
So here's the crucial point. A regular city can just be a collection of individuals who happen to live near each other. You and me and our neighbors, we might just be a bunch of separate dots on a map. But a Kyria, that's a true community. It's a place where all the individual people are fused into a single, unified whole.
And this explains the real power of a community. There's a line in the source that just nails it. Peace and unity are salvation and protection. So back in that city of refuge, the person hiding there isn't just being protected by stone walls. No, they are being shielded by the merit of this unified community. And for that community to have its full protective power, it has to represent the entire nation, the priests, the Levites, and the Israelites. It needs to be whole. Its unity is its shield.
Okay, so now that we have this new definition, we can go all the way back to our original puzzle, the conquest of those cities of Sihon and Og. And suddenly, the language makes perfect sense.
This is why the Torah makes such a big deal about conquering the Kryot, the plural of Kyria. The Israelites weren't just knocking down walls and breaking gates. They were up against something much, much stronger. A spiritual fortress. A kind of strength built on the powerful unity of the people inside. A Kyria was tougher than a regular walled city because its defenses weren't just physical, they were spiritual.
But this brings up a fantastic question, doesn't it? If the enemy's unity and their Kryot was this powerful spiritual fortress, how on earth did the Israelites defeat them? How does one force win against another like that? Well, the source explains that not all unity is created equal. The unity of those enemy cities, it was superficial. The text calls it a unity of impurity. Yeah, people were banding together for a common goal, but they didn't have that deep, essential internal bond. At their core, they were still just a collection of separate individuals, and that kind of external alliance, as powerful as it looked, could be broken by the genuine, essential unity of the Israelite people, which came from a single shared source.
So, why does any of this matter? I mean, it's an ancient text, a linguistic puzzle. What does it have to do with us, right here, right now? Well, the source connects this idea directly to one of the most central themes in all of Jewish thought: exile and redemption.
You see, the sages tell us that the ancient temple in Jerusalem was destroyed because of baseless hatred and disunity. The nation basically fell apart from the inside. So, it makes sense that the path to healing, the path to redemption, is to reverse the very thing that caused the problem. The work is to actively build a Korea, to foster love and unity, until we are no longer just a collection of individuals, but one single, unified community.
And this is just so powerful. The idea of a Gilead isn't just some goal for the distant future. It's a tool for right now. The source teaches that when we build unity, we are literally creating our own spiritual city of refuge. We're protecting ourselves and our communities from all the negativity and challenges of the world. So this unity is our protection right now, and it's the prep work for a future of complete redemption.
So the takeaway from all this, it's not just a grammar lesson. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for every single one of us. It asks us to look past our own individual lives, our separate houses, our divided opinions, and to ask a very real question. What am I doing to build a Korea? How can we start turning our groups of individuals into real, unified communities? Because as we've just seen, that's where true strength and true protection really comes from.